up, everybody? It's your girl, Beck Easy.
Hey, guys, it's Trell, and this is
The team. It's us. That's because you usually don't say the team.
That's true, too. But
You
it's like,
wanna
I'm
say
right
it.
here.
Yeah.
Immediate. I have to.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 87. We have a wonderful guest with us. Please introduce yourself to the peoples.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tanila Brown, and I'm here to give you some information about COVID today.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome.
The melanin in the white coat. We love to see it.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. So how was your weekend this weekend so far?
It was pretty good. I went to a football tailgate yesterday, which is not my usual vibe. But I went. I had fun, played some lawn games, had some snacks. So.
Who was playing?
I know it was Georgia. I think it was Georgia versus Clemson. I wasn't watching the game.
Okay.
Let me just
I was there for the
tailgating.
experience. Right. Absolutely. How about you, Trell?
My weekend was good so far. Just work, of course. Saturday, we had our Labor Day happy hour.
Yes.
Our first event since December of 2019.
Exactly.
Which is, and when we were there, I'm like, dag, it's been a long
It's been so long. Like, we put up our banner, our banner that got our picture and all of our information, and we're looking at it like, dang, none of that information is even the same anymore.
We done had 2 emails since the email that was on the banner. Like, not the same Twitter, Instagram, but it still looked cute, you know.
It's nice to be back on the scene. We outside a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part, just like getting to hang out with people again.
Yeah.
Trying to
Definitely.
get some things done.
Right.
In real life.
Right. In real life, because no Zoom.
Right.
I'm like tired of Zoom. I don't want to see another Zoom, but life is life. And if we all get it together, we'll be back to the new normal. It's not going to ever go back to what it once was, which I'm actually okay with. 6 feet distance. I'm okay with, sanitizer, making sure that your hands are clean, because that's something we should have been doing from the beginning. So we'll see. But yeah, life is life. Donda came out. Donda. Is it Donda or Donda?
Donda? I don't know.
Diddy laughing. What is it? Donda. Yeah. I don't know.
Donda.
Yeah, Donda dropped. Drake, CLB dropped.
I haven't listened to
I haven't listened to either one. I listened to one song, the I Love You, I Love You,
whose
love
album?
You, off of Drake.
I haven't listened to
That was good. I have to get into it. I think the hype of Donda just
overshadowed it.
It just, I don't even want to listen to it because it was taking forever. He took so long. Did you listen to it?
I haven't listened to anything.
I haven't heard them yet.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily interested in listening to Kanye's either.
Yeah.
I might check it out just to say I did, but I probably am more interested in checking out Drake's project than Kanye.
Yeah. Light skin. It's so funny. I actually invited Corey to happy hour. I sent it to him on Instagram, and he was like, "Oh, so y'all inviting me now?" I'm like, you always have a standard invitation. He was like, y'all be treating light skin so wrong. I was like, no, you and Drake are the only 2 exceptions because y'all don't act like skin.
Right.
So I was cracking up. So yeah, we'll listen to it. We'll see what happens. And we'll go from there. Got any hot topics this week?
Texas.
Yeah,
that has been a hot topic. Their abortion law that was passed, where if you're after 6 weeks, is considered illegal, which is crazy because most people don't know until 6 weeks.
Listen here,
right?
Testimony.
Yeah, they're saying as soon as there is cardiac activity, which would be around in 6 weeks, that's when this is in effect. And apparently, like if I'm going to get an abortion, you can sue you. I know, who may be a perfect stranger who has nothing to do with me or anything, lawsuits. Has the right to sue. Yeah,
they said even if you go into Uber to go to get it,
the
Uber driver can be sued, and they said the fine is like $10,000. It's mind-boggling. When I seen it, I'm like, and then it went to Supreme Court for it to be stopped, and of course they ruled that no, it's not going to stop. It's going to go into effect because our former president sworn in 3 Supreme Court judges, so
he stacked the court.
They have the upper hand when you go to Supreme Court because that's the highest you can go. After that, it's like
it is what it is.
Not much you can do, right? So this is why we send, Anyway, it's just mind-boggling. A lot of people were writing like how men are creating laws about women and their bodies. And if you see in social media and, everywhere it's with the vaccine, it's my body, my choice. It shouldn't be mandated to get a vaccine. So why don't we have that same energy when it comes to women?
And it's so crazy. Like I wrote that tweet the other day, but it was actually in my drafts before this even had came about. I just was randomly thinking about it. I'm like, okay, now this is relevant right now. Like, really, my body, my choice went the vaccine, but we gonna tell. And then, so rape or incest is not even being considered
as the emergent cases. Yeah, that's not included in it.
It's just beyond me. I've always been like pro-choice.
Right.
Like, I'm not for or against. I'm pro-choice because people are making these decisions for reasons that we probably can't even fathom.
Right. Somebody else had tweeted, once the, what did she say? Once the law is worse for you getting the abortion than the actual rapist, that's how you know when it's like a war on women.
Yeah.
Like the fees and the penalties and all that stuff for going and getting it past 6 weeks is more harsher than some rapists. Some rapists get out and just are on a rape list and
that's it.
Yeah, was it not a rape
sexual
list?
Offenders list. Yeah.
What is it?
Sorry,
sexual
offenders list,
right?
and they're able to still live and be jolly. You know what I'm saying? Not jolly, but
it's crazy. As the doctor, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I understand, this respect for life, but life also has to do with the woman who's alive right now, right?
Right.
So what are we doing to support these women, help them, move on in the right direction so that they can make choices that are right for them and for their families and their future families? It's like everybody is all about, life, but then they're not doing anything to help people live, to actually live fully and, to the full extent of their ability and get them to their next level,
Right.
I agree.
And it's so funny because as you're saying that, I'm like, a lot of politicians shun people that are on the state or, getting assistance. If this person knows that they can't take care of this child mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and you're still making them have this child, but then when the child gets here, it's going to be an issue, with trying to take care of this child.
Right. And that's why
DCF involved, if you know what I'm saying.
I feel like it's leading to like so many potential issues. You forcing somebody, like you said, that's telling you I can't take care of this child. Now we got abuse that's probably going to be taking place. Maybe that person might become suicidal because it's like, I don't want to, especially like if it's in the instance of like rape or something like that.
Right.
It's just
like the life that we're saving might not even get here because the mother might say, listen, I don't want to be here because of this situation.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully something changes.
I hope.
We'll see. And also I seen that was it Oklahoma? I keep saying Oklahoma. I might be right. Let me look. They're taking, what was the medicine that we were talking about?
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin. Yeah. Oklahoma. I guess people are taking it because it's been said that it helps with COVID. But how are they linking this? Because I'm confused.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the pandemic, we're investigating a lot of different drugs. We're really trying to, be open-minded and think about all different types of treatments that are out there. So ivermectin already exists. It's an anti-parasite medication. So you might use it for scabies or like to deworm, somebody has intestinal worms. And it's also used on farms to deworm farm animals.
Right.
So there was an early study in February from the National Institute of Health that found that in a petri dish, ivermectin can stop COVID from replicating. So this is kind of where the idea came.
Okay.
But when they did that study, they were like, okay, how likely is this to work in a human? And so they found that it would have to be a dose like 100 times the normal recommended dose of ivermectin in order to get to the levels that were needed to inhibit COVID replication, right? So they scrapped it because they're like, okay, well, that's beyond the safety guidelines. And so, yeah, it works in a petri dish, but it wouldn't be safe to like dose
in
it
a 200-pound woman.
Right, exactly. And so it's like my friend Shemaine, she's a doctor down south. She said, Clorox works on the counter as well, right? But we shouldn't be drinking Clorox.
Right.
So, there is some science there that it works, and there is not enough evidence that we have a good, effective dose that's safe. That's the problem. Right. So we have people using animal medication and ending up in the emergency room or just taking even the normal parasite dose, thinking maybe that's going to help, but it's probably not high enough anyway to do anything. So, it's not to say that maybe as we continue to study this down the line that we'll find it, but we're just kind of jumping the gun too soon.
Absolutely.
Instead of just wearing your mask.
Right.
Exactly. Or getting vaccinated.
People say I'm not going to take the vaccine.
Right.
Or take this is what I did. This is the main part I don't understand. I'm like, you don't want to take the vaccine that has hundreds and thousands, at this point, 300 billion people worldwide who have taken it and very, very, very limited side effects. But you want to go experiment with cocktails and regimens that aren't proven to be effective. That's the part that, really will baffle me sometimes.
Right.
I could get I understand people are looking for things. They want to take some power back. They want to take some control, feel like you have something that you can do. There is something you could do. It's like get vaccinated, like wear your mask.
Right.
So yeah, that's the part. It always confuses me and confounds me as a physician, because I'm like, we have some things that actually are proven to work. So why do the experimental stuff?
And I said, watch. I said it can actually be a shot or a remedy for the vaccine, for the COVID, and they'll still be like, nah, no, no, there's no way.
I know. As soon as we start to say, oh yeah, ivermectin, they'll be like, oh, never mind. Right. Cancel ivermectin. Nobody take that anymore.
Right. Yeah. So it's really silly. We'll see. Trell, you rooting for anybody this week?
I am. So this week I'm rooting for a small business that was actually just brought to my attention on a podcast I just was on earlier today. And it's called Real Life Snacks. I want to say the owner is Portia Williams' daughter. I want to say Lauren.
Nice.
And they have like the COVID face masks, but they're like really cute. Like the ones that when you bring them down, it looks like scarves.
Nice.
I just was saying like I wanted some of those for the winter, because I'm like, my neck. Cover my neck.
Right.
But they're like cute ones. They're like chiffon covered. They got chiffon mask covers to go over your existing mask. So if you got like the blue mask, you want to make it cute.
Right.
Put it over there. And their prices are starting at like $12. So definitely check that out, because we're going to be wearing these masks for God knows how long. So might as well make it cute.
Make it cute. Make it cute.
Might as well make it cute.
And also shout out to Amber. We had our happy hour and she was there and she was like waving, and I'm like, I don't know if I know her. And she was like, hi, oh my God, I listen to you guys all the time. She's from Connecticut but lives in Maryland. She was like, I absolutely love you guys. And we were like, oh, thank you. Yes. Thanks a lot. Like, spread the word while you're down there,
Yes.
So shout out to her. And she has a YouTube, right?
Yes. Amber Next Door is her YouTube show. I've listened to it before. It's really good. So make sure you guys check her out. Yeah. And again, shout out to you, Amber.
She was so cute. So yes, we want to shout her out because we know she's going to listen.
I have one too.
Yes.
Please.
See, I did listen. I listened to a few shows ahead of time.
Yeah, we did.
I want to shout out Tabitha from Gatnasanella Bakery in West Haven. It's a new Black-owned bakery. Check out their banana pudding, and their Oreo cupcake was really good. So
nice.
I don't like neither one of those things. But I'm gonna check it out.
She got options, I'm sure.
I'm gonna check it out.
I love banana pudding. So did she use the vanilla wafers or she used the Chesterman?
She has Nilla wafers.
The Nillas. And you know what? I always say vanilla. Are they Nillas? Is it?
I think it's just Nilla, right?
I think it's Nilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my high school friends used to call me Nilla because my name's Tanila.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's so cute.
Nilla wafer.
That's cute.
Vanilla wafer. Yeah, that sounds good.
So
I'm
shout out
definitely
to
gonna.
them.
Yeah,
Shout out to these.
I love sweets. Danny and me are the sweets peoples.
Yeah, I gotta like be craving something sweet. And if
I'll do
I
sweets
am, most
before
likely
dinner.
it's gonna be like ice cream.
That's
or
like
something
the
like
life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just proud
Shout out
of
to her.
all those Black entrepreneurs doing something new,
especially with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of businesses that were closing. I seen a lot of businesses open.
Yeah, this is a
in
new
the
one.
pandemic. So I definitely love to see it.
Yes. So shout out to you guys.
Yes, I have the You Tried It of the week.
Oh boy.
This man had went viral on TikTok. I want y'all to listen to his video real quick. Let me see if it's gonna play.
Would say it's simple. Feminism taught you you a queen, you God's gift to this earth, you the prize. No, the fuck you ain't. No, you ain't a queen. You ain't never gonna be my queen because you ain't my mother. You don't love me unconditionally. You love me under conditions. And the problem is that I'm a man, I'm a leader, I'm the toxic asshole guy, the tool, right? Because when we go out, right, you expect me to take care of you, right? When we go out, I pay for it. You good. We go to the store, here, get some shoes. You good. I got you. But when I tell you to do something, do it.
So yeah, this is him. And he just kept rambling on, what's his name on here? Instagram is Heartbreak Nino 617. So people were taking the video and just like straight clowning him. First of all, he was in front of his futon.
Is this the one that they were talking about? He was lying about his height. Is that the same guy?
Yeah, and you know he was light skinned, right? Yeah, of course he was. Yeah, so they just were like getting on him on TikTok. But like, how dare you? First of all, I'm not a queen because I'm not your mother. Like that just sounds like the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Like. He was just really, really fugazi with his statement, but everybody clowned him. He thought he was doing something, but literally the whole internet clown. Of course, he's a rapper too. Oh, rapper, short and light skin and sleep on a futon.
That's stupid. I've been having a lot though with men thinking like posting stuff like obviously clout chasing and then it's just not go well for them.
Right.
I've seen it twice already.
I was about to say it. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The one that said that my ex got 7 kids and this is her 3rd marriage.
Yes.
The dating pool must be real bad if people keep picking her.
Right.
And people was like, but why are you still checking for her, number one?
7 kids and 3 marriages later.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, we're still cool. We're friends. We just keep it a buck with each other. She was like, that's even worse. Like,
right.
I would never want my friend to not want me to find love again. Like, what?
And it was another one. The guy that was saying he can't understand why his wife loves flowers. Like, why? What's the big deal?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's just like, just buy the flowers.
Yeah.
Like,
and I seen one, I guess it was like, women will really throw away a marriage for not getting flowers. And then somebody reposted and said, and men would make a marriage go for not getting them.
Right.
Like,
it's
literally
$4.99
a bunch. They're actually 3 for $12 a bunch at ShopRite. Like you could do a nice bouquet for $12, mix and match, do what you want. Like it's just
it's crazy. Like
the men's
just stay off the internet.
The yeah, they trying to control the bodies. They trying to tell us we ain't queens. We can't have a marriage after 7 kids.
Listen, flowers.
Listen, obviously she's doing something. 7 kids and it's her 3rd marriage. They love her. I'm
right.
Like mind your business. Just mind it. Like I just.
You tried it.
Yeah, they all tried it. That was like 3 of them. And I had a record of like, I don't have a you tried it. Like things have been good, but
lately,
yeah,
it's
COVID been getting to their brain.
Right. The triflingness.
Right.
The triflingness. So yeah, we're gonna get right into our topic. Nothing else to say as far as our preliminaries. So introduce yourself. Let them know where you work.
Sure.
How long you've been doing medicine, where you studied.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm Dr. Tanila Brown. I am originally from Jamaica, but I was raised in Bridgeport, so I'm a lifelong Connecticut person. I've traveled for my education primarily, so I went to the University of Pennsylvania and studied biology there, molecular biology. I went to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, where I studied medicine and also public health. I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I got further apprenticeship and training in both pediatric medicine and adult medicine. So now I'm double board certified in both topics in adult medicine and pediatric medicine. I'm a member of the American Academy of Pediatricians. I'm a member of the American Medical Association. I'm a member of the American College of Physicians. So if I count bound to residency, yes, I've been practicing medicine for over 10 years and at the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center since 2013. So going on 8 years working right there in New Haven, right where we're at. So
you better listen. Let's give some snaps, okay? Because let them know. Yeah, that is like, whoa, okay.
Shout out to you.
Are you still doing pediatric medicine?
Yes, yeah. So my time at the Hill Health Center is pretty much split half and half now.
Nice.
So I get to work right there at 428 Columbus, and it's just 2 different hallways. So when I'm working with kids, I go down where the pediatric nurses are, and then I have my own team also on the medicine side. So.
Good to know. Good to know for little Curtis Bernard. So we're here talking about COVID. What actually sparked us to have another conversation about it, we were asked by the city of New Haven and New Haven Public Health to help with the vaccine okay to ask campaign. So, we understand that people want to get information before they make a decision, but get the information from someone that knows what they're talking about, i.e. Dr. Brown, before you make a choice. There's a lot of internet scientists and different things that, people are talking about. We just want them to get a concise idea of, listen, this is where we're at. This is where we were. This is where we at now. This is where we can be if we get it together. So what are your thoughts on COVID thus far? Like, how was your experience from the time it started? Because, in person, doctor's visits weren't a thing. So how was life personally and, in medicine?
Wow. Thank you for asking. I actually wasn't expecting that question, so I appreciate you. As a single person and a professional, it was actually scary going into the lockdown. I'll be honest. I was thinking like, who am I going to hang out with? Who am I going to see? Like, I really just have my work, people.
Right.
Church was closed. We went virtual, though the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center never fully closed.
Nice.
There were people there doing acute care throughout the whole entire pandemic. But
I was awesome.
I thought so too. I was one who was allowed to do telehealth. So I was working out of my apartment for about a month, and then we went back in person or doing telehealth from the main site. So I think my biggest fear was just like, I'm going to be cut off from everybody. Like, what am I going to start thinking if I'm just sitting with myself 24/7?
Absolutely.
But God is good. Zoom was created. Telehealth platforms were created. I was able to work. I was able to still see friends. Thank God for FaceTime. I could see my nephews regularly, even though they live several states away. But yeah, it was really like a anxiety provoking time. Even when you rest, you feel like you're constantly thinking about COVID and trying to stay up to date and like learn as much as you can. So, just really appreciate your healthcare workers, your personal physicians, your school nurses, because all of them are definitely feeling the stress and the burn of trying to like stay up to date, give you accurate information. We're dealing with a lot of misinformation, disinformation, campaigns against what's fact and what's science, and it takes a lot of endurance.
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
And so that is kind of how it felt. At the same time, it was almost like a very exciting and invigorating time in a weird way. Because you felt the pull of your calling more acutely. Like people, like, I'm a primary care physician. Sometimes I feel like we're the bottom of the totem pole. Everybody kind of poops on us and like, you got to do all the other scut work and we don't have as much sometimes respect and clout as specialists. But I mean, primary care people were literally still on the ground, still keeping the door open, trying to reach out to patients. And I probably saw more people than I ever normally do in those first few weeks. And I was the most alive and excited because I'm like, this is what I went into medicine to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And it was really life-giving in a way, even though it was also stressful.
No, I can only imagine. Agree. And it made us realize like, wow, like imagine if everything were literally to shut down like this. Like the idea is scary. It was very scary. And like you said, sitting by yourself with your thoughts, how usually if you're home and your husband get on your nerves, it's like, all right, well, I'm at least have 8 hours away from this because I'm be with my coworkers. I could talk about him with my coworkers.
They did say this is like the biggest time for divorce and stuff because of that reason.
Right. Because really it's like, intense. Oh, wow, you really what? Because I usually
this is who you are.
Right. I usually see you at the end of the day when we having dinner and about to wrap it up for the day. And start again. It's like, whoa, like eye opener, right?
Right.
It's crazy. So let us know about the new Delta variant. And then I heard about another variant. I was watching World News. I forgot what the name was but I'm sure you know. Okay. Let us know what the Delta variant is, how severe it is compared to the first COVID. Because people think like, oh, I got COVID the last time. Like,
I'm not going to get it.
I'm good. Yeah. Like I seen one person like, oh, I got it 3 times. And when somebody was like, just wear a mask. Oh no, it breaks me out. So you worried about a pimple compared to
I thought
life.
I ain't going to say who it was, but
your very life is on the line.
This was really silly.
Yeah. So Delta is really a game changer. It's really been a challenge. Early on in the summer, if you look at the curves, you always should go to original sources, try to get good data. If you go to cdc.gov or the Connecticut DPH website, you'll see like in the early summer, the curve was coming down and you're thinking like, okay, the vaccine's ramped up, the curve's coming down, like looks like we're going to pull through this. And then boom, Delta. And it's just like, literally, we're like in the end of the summer, like right now, almost back to the numbers that we were seeing in the winter of 20.
Wow.
And I'm just like, my God, you know, like here we go all over again. So Delta has been a game changer because it's way more contagious than the original COVID strain. So whereas with COVID from 2020, one person infected could maybe affect two to three people, you know, like this is the rate of transmission. The Delta variant is like one infected person can infect about 6 to 9 people. So it's way more contagious. Exactly. It's way more contagious. It's more easily transmissible. You need a shorter amount of time exposed to the person. So there was a CDC report of a case study out of California, but really the specific state doesn't matter. It's just like this could have happened anywhere. And actually, if you think about it, California's vaccination rates are pretty good. So they had mask mandate in the school. Everybody's wearing their mask, and the teacher was taking the mask off intermittently. She was reading a book, take the mask off, here and there, taking the mask off. Almost the entire first row of that classroom got COVID. Wow. And 12 students total in that classroom got COVID from just intermittently demasking during the day in a place.
And, you know, we always have times where we're like, I need a breath real quick.
Right, you know? And then the door was open, so then it also like went outside of the classroom and so forth. And, you know, this is I don't know for sure, but the teacher was likely vaccinated and she was wearing her mask most of the time and still led to an outbreak in that community. So we're talking about kids. So, you know, the kids aren't vaccinated, you know? But yeah, so Delta is way more contagious. It's much more easy to transmit from one person to another, and is also more likely to lead you to be hospitalized, more likely to lead to ICU stay and intubation. And we're still working on the mortality data, but it definitely is looking like it's more virulent, it's more potent, it's more powerful on your body than the original strain. And so, yeah, if you had COVID already, this is no protection at all against Delta. Also, earlier on when we were doing the 2-shot vaccines, it used to be with the first strain, even if you got 1 shot, you'd be like 90% protected. And we were kind of like, hey, maybe we could spread the vaccine out and just give 1 shot. With Delta, that dropped to 60%. Like you're only 60% protected if you only have 1 shot so far. And so I got a patient portal message from somebody the other day, was like, hey, I got my first shot and now they're saying I have COVID. Is that possible? I'm like, yeah, it's really, really possible. You know, like you're within 2 weeks of the first vaccine. You haven't finished the series. And with Delta, that's not enough. It's not enough to keep you safe.
That was the whole time. Go ahead, Terrell.
No, I was just going to say that was my question. Like, how is it affecting us who are vaccinated, the variant and COVID in general? How does that affect those who are vaccinated?
This is why the CDC started to say to mask again, because we were seeing breakthrough cases in fully vaccinated patients as well. But the vaccine is still your best chance. So there was a study out of Cape Cod where a bunch of people who were on the same trip and vaccinated and unvaccinated people got sick. There was another study here of a summer party in Connecticut, where vaccinated and unvaccinated people got sick. But what they found was you were 4 times more likely to contract the virus if you were unvaccinated. So even though there was a mixture of people that got sick, you were way less likely to get sick if you took the vaccine fully.
Gotcha.
So.
Interesting. Yeah. So you had mentioned the kids on our COVID-19.newhavenct.gov. Only 37.37% of teens ages 12 through 15, those are the ones that are able to get it, of New Haven have only received their first dose. Only 29% of teens ages 12 through 15 of New Haven have received their second dose of the vaccine. So can we talk more about the safety of the vaccine for the kids? Because, you know, there were some things that came out saying that their cardiac, it was, you know, would affect the kids. I think that's most important because they are going back to school and it's a lot of kids. Like, I think Hill House actually is at capacity, which I don't think they ever did that before. Like, I guess they're like, is way more kids than what they expected to come. Let's talk about that because I know people are nervous for their children because, of course, you're more nervous for your child than you are yourself.
I found that to be true as a physician who takes care of families and adults and kids, I feel like people are way more going to be protective and worried and follow up about their kids even in their own health. And I'm constantly trying to tell Black women, like, you are the backbone of your family. If you don't survive, everything is going to go down, you know?
It's a fact.
So yeah, I agree with you. People are really worried about their children, and I get that. And I want to let people know that the vaccine has been studied very well in children at this point. It's a firm recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics, the AAP, to go ahead and vaccinate 12 and older. So if you're 12, I would strongly encourage you to definitely consider taking the vaccine. It's the safest way for us to go back to school. So masking does help. Social distancing helps to a lesser extent even than masking. But the number one thing you can do when you're going to be mixed in a room with 20, 30 other people, you don't know what they did on the weekend or who they're seeing or how they're behaving themselves, is to vaccinate your own child so your own child can be protected. So the risk of myocarditis really did come up, and you know, I understand where that concern comes from, and I want to give you truth and also let you know that the fact that we even know about some of these side effects is just a testament to how seriously the scientists behind the scenes are taking this rollout. So so for myocarditis, the rate is a low percentage. So it's not a very common side effect, but it did happen. So far, it was more likely in males, so boys and young men. And we're talking about ages like between 13 to 30. Those were the highest portion of people who had this side effect. It could happen in any age group, but that was the key demographic. So basically what you would want to look out for is any signs of chest pain or shortness of breath. It'd be like a sharp pain. If that happens, just go into the ED. They know what to do. They know what to check for. So far, there have been no long-term side effects on the heart because of this, no actual heart attacks or death because of this. But there has, this little bit of inflammation of the heart. But I want you to know that can happen with just a virus. It can happen with COVID. It could happen with flu. It could happen after a stomach flu. So diarrhea and vomiting can lead to that same type of condition. It's like a side effect of a very robust immune system reacting to something in the body. So this is something that happens naturally as well. And we found it in this subcategory in the vaccinated patients, but not strong enough for us to stop it. Nothing that caused any type of serious long-term damage. So I'm always looking at compared to the actual disease. So compared to actual COVID, which has a much higher rate of myocarditis, the vaccine is still the safer option and the safer way to go.
Right. And I wanted to express, you're going to get allergic reaction from eating watermelon. You can get allergic reaction from eating pineapple. You don't know until you actually, get it. So we go through these things where we do have reactions and it's okay. But then when it's a reaction, very few, like you said, the percentage is low. It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to get vaccinated because that happened.
So-and-so, whereas everybody's different.
Right. And we've been getting vaccines for years as a kid. And I just wanted to express, you can't pick and choose when you want to trust science.
Right.
So we trust science when it comes to the beaties, the sugar, the diabetes. We trust it when we come to our cholesterol. And we trust it, stroke or heart attack. But then when it comes to this serious thing, is no, I don't trust it. I'm a what do they call themselves?
Skeptic.
Yes, skeptic and conspiracy theorist. I was talking to a coworker and I'm like, because it's mandated for the hospital. I just feel like it's so crazy that they are making us get it. They're making us get it. I said, but they've been making us get the flu shot for a few years now.
Right.
What are you talking about?
And, exactly. You have to have titers to MMR.
Right.
So
PPDs, we do it all. And I'm like, it's just too early for them to do it. But this is 2021. Science back in the day took 10 years to come up with something, but we're in 2021.
That was my sentiment exactly, because it was a big thing. They did it so fast, and I'm like, but like you said, it's 2021. I mean, we should be progressing in a way where we can get what we need much quicker.
We need it, right? Do you want more people to die and get it before they come up with something?
Right.
Exactly. I'm like, if we could come out with a new iPhone every year, you know what I'm saying? Like we should be able to have science develop. That's a testament. I mean, there are plenty of other countries where we don't have biotech technology like this where we can't get fast rates and people are dying waiting for vaccine rollouts in other places, and we have that as a privilege, as a blessing in the United States, and would turn our nose up at it. That's bothersome. So like, as far as this too fast thing, so let me just say that so mRNA was discovered in the 1960s. That's before I even existed. So it's not a brand new thing. We didn't just figure it out. In the 1990s, so I was born by then. In the 1990s, we started doing original research with mRNA, and the problem was really just getting the molecule to be stable. So the reason why we couldn't really use it in a grand scale is because we were working really hard on trying to stabilize the molecule, get it to do what you want it to do when you put it in a delivery mechanism. And then really in the past couple of years, they've already been starting to stabilize mRNA. And when the whole world shuts down and all of our attention is focused on COVID, then we're like, okay, where are we at with that stabilization? Okay, move it forward. Let's see what's going. So it's not like just a snap of the finger, or because Trump said warp speed, that we just made up some stuff. Like, this has been going on in the scientific community for decades. It's not brand new. It's not like you just pulled it out the closet. It's been something that's been systematically worked on carefully over a long period of time. And we just are so blessed and providentially ready to receive that help right when we needed it.
That's what I've been saying. Like, people need to do their own research before spreading misinformation and before making a decision, because the internet is full of all different, like, if you were relying on the internet for your knowledge, you would be so confused because it's like all over the place. My whole approach to the whole thing was just like, do I want to be dead or inconvenienced?
Right.
That was my whole approach to getting
because someone said to me, like, oh, watch, in 40 years you're gonna see the the commercial is like, oh, well, did you use Johnson and Johnson? You may be entitled. I said, I'd rather get side effects
later on down the road,
than
not being able to even make it down the road. Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I've heard that rationale as well. Like, how do you know what's going to happen in a few years? And I'm like, we're still figuring out, again, always going back to the actual disease. We're still figuring out complications from COVID right now.
Right.
Like, people who have lung scarring that's going to be chronic, that's going to last forever. People who are having heart failure. I've got clients and patients who haven't returned to work almost like 6 months, a year after the infection, because they're just not, their mind is not clear, their lungs are not breathing right, their heart is not pumping right. So I'm comparing the vaccine to COVID, and we've been rolling out vaccines in the United States for decades and decades. And so far, every single time, the majority of the problems come up in the first, little bit of time. So there's no vaccine that we've rolled out that we found out decades later, like, oh my gosh, this makes you infertile or something. Like, that's not been the history in this country of vaccine rollout. So we know that our vaccine infrastructure is really rigorous, and we test things carefully. We figure out the big problems, even like, the blood clots, the Guillain-Barré. We're usually going to find those things out within years.
Right.
And so I have more of a concern as a physician as to what's going to happen with my COVID survivors decades from now. Are their brains going to, work as well as it would if they didn't have COVID? Are their hearts and lungs going to function at the same rate? Or are we going to be seeing problems decades from now, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it.
And that's the long COVID that they're referring to. That's what they're referring to when they mention long COVID.
Yeah.
Like the residue of after you're able to not have the fever and the chills and all that.
There's this esthetician, very popular esthetician that I follow, and she might be around my age or maybe even younger.
Oh yeah.
And she had COVID, and then not too long ago she had posted and was like, she's had so many, like, she could barely get out of bed some days because of all the stuff that she's dealing with now, like heart issues, like just it's like she listed.
It was a thread.
It was like a whole thread of all these things that she's dealing with. So I think that's important for people to understand too. Like, like you said, we're so worried about the possible effects from the vaccine, but I don't think people are putting into play what could be happening if you get COVID.
Right. And there's people that have had it and still don't want to get vaccinated. There's people that have had people pass away
and still won't,
and still don't want to get it. So I mean, And like you said, it's because of false information. So we're so happy that you're here to say, listen, COVID is nothing new.
Yeah.
1960s, it was before all our time. You get what I'm saying? Right. So like you said, it's nothing new. People thinking it's just popped out of the air from China and like, this is what happened because of bats or because they eat bats.
Oh yeah, they were saying bats before.
Yeah. Whatever. I want to talk specifically about our community, the Black and Brown community. Has the numbers gotten better for us? Are we still the ones that need vaccines the most? Like, talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, there's still health disparities and health injustices, health inequalities, and COVID outcomes that are disproportionately falling to Black and Brown people in this country. And for example, you were just talking about if you go to the CTDPH website, you can see the vaccine rollout by age. And there's, the younger and younger you get, the lower and lower the percentages are falling in terms of percentage that have received their first and second vaccine. Okay. But then if you break that down further by demographic groups, you'll see that African-American communities in Connecticut are taking those vaccine in young people at even lower rates than the rest, even compared to Hispanics and Pacific Islanders. So out of all the different people groups, we're vaccinating the least amount, and which is going to lead to just a widening of those health injustices and inequalities. So everything that we can do to get good information to our people in our community and get our vaccine rates up. So to me, I think of it as a way of taking power. I alluded to before that, social media scientists and things like this, and coming up with cocktails and things that you want to try to use to protect your children and your family. These are all attempts to get something under your control. They're attempts to want to feel like you have something that you can do, like you can take an active role. Right. And I want to give you that power back. I want you to take your power. It's available to you. Right. The thing that's really going to make the biggest difference is to take the vaccine. That's one piece of the pie there that's actually got the strongest evidence to move the needle in terms of cases and death rates. I mean, we're talking about life and death. Don't forget that we're talking about lowering the rate of death of the population. So I think, anything we can do to kind of get that message out will be helpful. Yeah. We still do not have equity. We still don't have a level playing field, even with this new availability. I haven't looked in the data, but there are antibody infusions that you can get if you get COVID diagnosed. So we have to make sure people know about that. Talk to your doctor. Yale does do the infusions. Like my aunt and uncle received it. There's, but if you don't know that it exists, right, and you're busy trying to get a cocktail from somebody on the side who told you something, right, you're missing your opportunity to take these things that actually can work for you.
Right. Right.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and that's why when they asked us to be a part of the campaign, we were like, oh yeah, absolutely, because we know people that have had it. We know people that passed away from it. People that have the long side effects, and it's a real thing. So just get informed properly. Yeah. Make a decision based off of the facts. The vax facts. Right. It was a tongue twister for us.
Get the vax facts.
Yeah. It was a lot. So where do you see the world going in an ideal world? Yeah. Do you think we'll be okay like by summer of 2022? Because my birthday's in June. So just,
I was,
she's like, listen, I'm be honest.
I was more on the side of summer 2022 before Delta. That's what I was saying earlier this year. Like, I don't think this summer will be normal, but maybe next summer we have a chance. It's really going to come down to how we get through the fall, right? Yeah. So schools are open again. Kids are mixing with one another. We don't have ways to vaccinate 12 and under as of yet, although that may be coming soon. So keep an ear out. And so that's really going to become a driver of our rates, right? So as kids go to school, they mix with one another, they go home, they're going to be bringing the virus back to the community. Exactly. Grandmothers and things like this. So if we're able to avoid a shutdown this fall and winter, then there is hope for the summer. Okay. So I think, if we can get the vaccine rates up, keep schools open safely, and we get through get to like the end of this year without a major crisis, then there's hope for this summer. But the way the numbers are trending right now, unless we really get a large amount of people to shift their messaging and accept the vaccine. So hopefully the FDA approval is going to help people to not feel like it's experimental. So things like this that will hopefully shift the behavior, then we're going to see the numbers come down. So people ask me like, what about herd immunity? I'm waiting for herd immunity and all this. And like, we're going to know when we've reached herd immunity when we stop seeing outbreaks, right? So as long as there's still outbreaks happening, that's your chance right now in real time to do your part and take the vaccine and try to see if we could squash it, right? So once you stop hearing about the case rates going up and all this, then you can actually start to take a breath and like relax a bit, right? But yeah, at this very moment, the curve is not looking too great, but hopefully we'll make some changes.
Yeah, I pray I miss my travel endeavors.
Yeah, and I really hope I don't want to go into another shutdown.
Yeah,
I do think some restrictions need to be put back in place, yes, but I don't want a full on shutdown.
I know. Yeah, because 2019, I traveled 10 of the 12 months. I went somewhere, so, and it was like completely nothing.
Yeah, that's a big change.
So, it's hurt. It hurt.
It does hurt. Like, I got on a plane just last month for the first time since 2019. September was like our last
to Mexico
international trip, or our last trip in general. So it just felt so crazy to like finally get out of Connecticut for real.
Right.
For real.
Yeah, I did Florida in May. It wasn't bad, like as far as keeping the mask on, and it was safe. But still, it's like you're paranoid because you got these anti-mask people. Like I hope we don't have nobody crazy on
wearing
exactly.
Yeah, even
after getting vaccinated, and it was like, oh, you got the option. Like I still like in mixed company, I'm still wearing it because people are like lying about even being vaccinated on top of it. So it's just like, I don't trust y'all. And then you got the people that just couldn't wait to take the mask off.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then they had to steal on your neck when you're in the line in the store. So it's like, no.
I know I'm going to start bringing my 6 foot circles around. And be like,
give me 6 feet forever. That has been my life since forever, though.
Yeah,
like I hate when people stand so close.
6 feet. I just say it like 6 feet, and then they were like, "Oh, okay, sorry." Thank you so much for the information.
Yeah.
Let the people know where they can contact you if they have any questions.
Sure. So if you have specific questions about COVID, you can email marketing@cornellscott.org. That's LLT, Cornell Scott. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. So nice. I think the Instagram handle is CSHHC_.
Got it.
All right.
And I think it's very important to get the information from a woman of color, a doctor, like, you are our people.
Right.
So, like, you're not going to steer us wrong.
Exactly.
You want us to survive. Like, you want us to live.
I got vaccinated. I got my parents vaccinated. I got my cousins vaccinated. Everybody that I love that's important to me, I'm trying to get them vaccinated if they're not already vaccinated. So I wouldn't be telling you to do anything that I wouldn't do for a loved one.
Right.
Like, your life is precious. I want our community to thrive and survive and not have another, inequity laid upon us. So, let's do something about it.
So hopefully our listeners that were very skeptical before are like listening to you, and it's like, okay, she said it, I can go do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And so what do we do? I mean, before we go, mass bans in politics. I think it was a petition that I signed for Texas. I think it was Texas and Florida. I think Florida had it, and they were like, we should have never did that because they're like intertwining politics with science. What do we say about that? Like, how can the people in those states say, nah, we're not going to do that? You know what I'm saying? Because the politicians work for us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the opposite way. Right. So what can people in Texas and a few other states do? I know that I think I seen where they're seeing if they can, the Department of Education, they're going to see if it's illegal for them to ban masks.
Yeah, there's a couple states they're investigating now.
Yeah, and then it's kids with disabilities, like you're basically throwing them into the fire.
Right.
So what are your opinions on that type
I think, there's one blog that's been really helpful with this. It's called the Friendly Neighborhood Epidemiologist. And she talks about how like social distancing in schools is not enough. So we're talking literally about rates of death. So there was a Nature article. Nature is one of the oldest scientific journals that's peer reviewed, meaning you have to get past like many other scientists evaluating your work, right? Mm-hmm. And they did a study to look at, okay, so if you just use social distance, it does drop the death rate, okay? But like not to the degree that masking does. So like this idea that like, well, it should be my choice and I'm going to send my kid and I'm the parent, I should choose. I have a public health degree, so I'm talking about the health of populations. So, if your choice for your child is affecting the health of the next child and the next child and the next child, it's beyond just your personal choice at this moment, right? Your choice is now forcing a choice onto me and my family,
Absolutely.
Right? So we're talking about the health of populations, and we know based on science that distancing alone doesn't drop the rate as fast as wearing masks does.
Right.
So when you're trying to squash a pandemic or squash a little community outbreak, masking is the thing that drives the rates down more so than just social distancing. Because this is what the counter side is saying, like, well, I don't want to have to wear a mask. I'm just going to keep my distance and so forth. And that will help, but why not use every tool in our arsenal to keep our children safe so we can keep the schools open, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, go back to the science. That blog that I mentioned is a good one. Talk to your physicians. The AAP is also like got a big advocacy group for the health and protection of children. We need kids. We need kids back in school for their social development.
Yeah,
and we need masks and distancing and proper air filters for their safety in COVID. So, definitely trying to use some of those other big resources to help weigh in and get people motivated in that and vote, of course, right, and vote
that
and,
part.
Let your accountable politicians know that this is going to be a deal breaker for you unless they back you what you're trying to get done for your school and
because guess
kids.
What they'll change your tune real quick,
right?
If they know they're not going to get that vote.
And local elections are coming up too on the 14th.
Yep, September. Yeah, we have that on our social medias as well. And every part of voting, we say it all the time. It's not just the presidency; it's the local ones that are actually most important.
Day-to-day decisions,
right? Exactly. We're for your life. This is your life. So yes, definitely vote in those.
So it's a wonderful conversation. A lot of truth to our conversation. So make sure you take heed to it. Bible. We have some church announcements this week. Drum roll, please.
This is my drum.
We are rolling out Podden New Haven. Woo! Shout out to the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven. Shout out to the Arts Council for helping fund this endeavor for us. We will be teaching high school students all about podcasting, social media marketing, how to properly host and not talk over each other. If you listen to our first episode to now, we've been great. Yeah. Executive producing, the behind the scenes, how to properly invite people on and all that good stuff. And then they will be implementing their own show. They'll have a bi-weekly podcast for the whole school year. So we're super excited about this. We actually have been talking about it in 2019, but then pandemic shut it down. But I'm actually happy that
everything happens when it's
in the right time and exactly, because it has went from a summer program to a whole 10-month program. So register online if you want any information. It's info@theteampodcast.com.
Yes.
And we just cannot wait. Y'all just listen. We got a lot of stuff brewing, but that is what we wanted to let everyone know. And we have a giveaway coming.
We do. We're gonna be giving away something soon. I don't know if you guys have seen it already yet, but if you have not, be on the lookout for the teen around New Haven. We got some billboards up. We got one over on Derby Avenue, right?
Yep.
By near the dealerships.
Yep. On I-91.
Yep,
You'll see that one. We're on buses. We're on the
radio.
buses,
the radio, the TV. So if you spot the team, take a picture, send it to us, or post it on social media, and make sure you tag us if you hear us on the radio or see us on TV. Take a little video, post it and tag us, and you'll be entered into our giveaway. And more details will be coming on our social media.
Yes,
so
and you know we be
that.
giving away good stuff. So.
Yes.
You know, that's good.
Yes.
Booked and listen.
I told y'all on social media, like our word has been alignment, because so many things have been working out the way they need to, the way we want them to lately.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's been easy. That's how you know it be God.
Right. That's why this time, like, it wasn't supposed to happen in 2019 with Pod in New Haven. Now is when it was supposed to happen.
The perfect time. So thank you guys. Until next time.
Bye. And wear your mask.
Hey guys, this is
The Team.
Got questions about the vaccine? It's cool to want to know what's up before you make a decision, but
Did you know there's a place you can go to get the answers?
get the Vax Facts.
Or to find a vaccine center near you, visit covid19.newhavenct.gov. That's covid19.newhavenct.gov.